The interior design trends in 2022 most likely to transform your home. As the year turns and we march towards spring, many people will be using the dark winter evenings to plan a refresh of their home. And there's plenty to excite about interior design trends for 2022. From the continuation and rise of trends currently popular to more emerging decor schemes, influenced by factors such as television programs, world challenges, and the COVID-19 pandemic. Nature and the environment continue to be solid springboards for so many trends, and the desire to nostalgically look back to the past continues to gather pace, arguably helped on by the continuing uncertainty in the present. Nature and the environment continue to be solid springboards for so many trends, and the desire to nostalgically look back to the past continues to gather pace, arguably helped on by the continuing uncertainty in the present. Nature and the environment continue to be solid springboards for so many trends, and the desire to nostalgically look back to the past continues to gather pace, arguably helped on by the continuing uncertainty in the present. In 2022, there's room for everyone's personal interior preferences, from big and bold to less is more lovely. But there are some distinct main trends emerging and solidifying that could influence your design choices over the next 12 months. 1. Nostalgically. Taking the time to look back at our lives and reflect. Nostalgia has always been a significant part of many people's lives, from Twitter's Throwback Thursday hashtag to Facebook groups sharing photos of buildings, fashions, toys, music and experiences of the past. The pandemic has given the majority of people the extra time to embrace nostalgia, and this has led to the rise in nostalgically, with the best retro trends from the 1950s through to the 1970s, in particular, rising to the forefront of design. This trend is all about looking for and embracing classic design, not clashing design. Retro classics that have stood the test of time in design and functionality, whether they be original or modern versions heavily influenced by the past. Add a statement piece rather than recreating your childhood bedroom or kitchen of the past, unless you are planning to completely indulge in a past interior decor scheme looking back through time. Ben White from Swift Sofas says, "Next year's trends will be driven by culture, by nostalgic elements of the interior design of the past that will start to make a comeback next year. I think this will present itself in the purchase of statement pieces, timeless items that feed the soul." Two. Mid-century. This trend is not a fledgling, trying to get established. It is already embedded within the interiors world, and is the standout era from the nostalgically trend. The term predominantly covers the 1960s and 1970s and incorporates design from the era, which has been growing in popularity for some time, especially classic pieces that offer robust furniture with a cool retro style. The past year has seen the popularity of mid-century design in the UK reach an all-time high, according to the experts at retro design house 20th Century Clock, and it is a trend that looks set to continue into 2022. The past year has seen the popularity of mid-century design in the UK reach an all-time high, according to the experts at retro design house 20th Century Clock, and it is a trend that looks set to continue into 2022. Helen Snell, the founder of 20th Century Clock, says, "There's a real familiarity to the mid-century movement and following all the turmoil. I think this year people have been yearning to surround themselves with furnishings that not only tick all the boxes when it comes to style but bring a level of reassurance and comfort. It has an enduring appeal. And as part of this looking to the past for inspiration trend, the interest in vintage will continue its bounding popularity, also straddling the cottagecore interiors trend, and incorporates high sustainability credentials if you're reusing and recycling items from the past." Three. Cottagecore. This term has been used a lot during 2020 and 2021, and has been arguably the standout interior design to spring out of the pandemic. mainly via social media platforms and particularly TikTok. Cottagecore is a lifestyle trend that romanticizes country living. It's not just about interiors. It idealizes a way of life and includes home-based activities such as gardening, baking and crafting, and even extends into fashion. Long periods of staying at home during lockdowns have resulted in a substantial increase in these activities, with the trend also incorporating a nod towards vintage, upcycling, and statement pieces from the past within the interiors world. John Lawless, content marketing manager from Big Bathroom Shop, says, "I don't expect the cottagecore trend to die just yet. Simple yet effective. This cozy and eclectic style can be easily created in any space by adding small additions like houseplants or vintage accessories, and can be built on as much or as little as you desire." Faye Froy, Burlington's brand expert, adds, "The internet-based aesthetic shows no signs of slowing. In fact, cottagecore is set to be one of 2022's top interior trends." Incorporating cottagecore's quaint and nostalgic charm can be easily achieved regardless of budget. Through the use of traditional ceramics, natural materials, neutral color schemes, whimsical wallpapers, and plenty of plants, can achieve a cottagecore conversion in any style home. Four. Sustainability and upcycling. As the decade unfolds, interiors will continue to incorporate sustainability and more eco-thoughtful products and designs as a basis for how we live and how we decorate and furnish our homes, including upcycling and vintage pieces, tapping into the nostalgically and cottagecore trends. Denby's design director, Richard Eaton, says, "Sustainability has been on our radar for a few years now, and next year we can expect to see it make an even bigger appearance." As a matter of fact, 82% of shoppers have said that sustainability is a bigger focus for them now than it was before the pandemic. This includes mixing and matching tableware pieces and coordinating furniture from different styles and periods. Thrifting and upcycling will be a major part of this and is a big reason why we're seeing a retro revival, with vintage 70s pieces finding their way back into our homes. But this trend isn't just about making use of what we already have, but rather shopping with a conscience, choosing pieces that are designed to last and are made with the planet in mind. As the focus on eco, sustainability, and even cottagecore and nostalgically trends continue to rise, one of the main elements that can be found popping up within each trend is textures and surfaces based in nature, from wood and rattan to indoor plants and bamboo. Georgia Metcalf, founder and creative director at the French Bedroom Company, says, "This underlying trend will see a focus on natural textures such as ceramic, earthenware, line-drawn artwork, linen, raw edge wood and rattan, all accessorized with dried grasses and cascading houseplants." Five. Nature-based colors. Green. It's not a surprise with the fallout from the pandemic then to find that calm and peaceful tones based in nature are the strongest colors coming through the interior world recently. In 2022, the predominantly colors are predicted to be shades of green and blue. Paying homage to the countryside, sky, coast and waterways that we have connected to over the pandemic period arguably more than ever before, these colors are at the top of the color chart for 2022. Jessica Hanley, founder of Piglet in Bed Linen and Bedding, says, "Forest green has had a huge moment in 2021 in part due to this return to nature. In 2022 I think we'll continue to see green as a favorite color, but with the world feeling a bit more optimistic than it has the past few years, we might see the color of the moment transition to a lighter sage green." Ben White from Swift Sofa says, "Bringing the outside in. It's a trend we've spoken about for a while, but next year it will come into fruition. We will see green and natural tones blended into our interiors through the use of plants, timber and terracotta. We might also see the use of green velvet sofas, sage or olive painted walls or jute textured rugs." 6. Nature-based colors. Blue. Shades of blue will continue to grow in popularity into 2022, again based on our increased connection to the outside landscape. Dulux is leading the way by choosing bright skies as its 2022 color of the year. Optimistic in its name as well as its shade. Georgia Metcalf, from the French Bedroom Company, says, during the next year expect to see plenty of soft sky blue items in homes around the nation. This emerging color is airy and fresh and it breathes new life into any space. The effect this has on our mood is uplifting and hopeful. It is a transformative shade, making for a tranquil home that affords us a safe retreat, whilst providing memories of coastal spent summers. For more a dramatic and yet serene atmosphere, crossing somewhat into the emerging regal trend, deeper, jewel-inspired shades of blue and green are likely to increase in popularity. Some people might decide to be inspired by the more dramatic and multi-layered aspect of nature than the paler tones offer. A thick and multi-layered rainforest landscape or a stormy sea perhaps. Seven. Rich and earthy colors. Continuing the trend of reflecting the outdoors, and an alternative to the cooler shades of green and blue is the emergence of earthy, rich tones bringing visual warmth to an interior scheme. Esther Millardi, design director at Cardiff-based D'Oro Interiors says, if you like your spaces to feel warm and cozy, earthy tones like rust, green and sand will be your go-to colors. If you do not want to embrace a full reddish-brown palette, though, consider pairing warm almond tones with sage green and lots of creams for a timeless look. Harriet Drohan, freelance stylist, thinks that the ever-popular natural palette will begin to include richer and more vibrant tones. She says, as we have seen a conversion to a more natural space, we will see pops of earthy tones like rich reds, dusty pinks and chlorophyll greens, be it in paint or through furniture, art and accessories. Seven. Rich and earthy colors. Continuing the trend of reflecting the outdoors, and an alternative to the cooler shades of green and blue is the emergence of earthy, rich tones bringing visual warmth to an interior scheme. Esther Millardi, design director at Cardiff-based D'Oro Interiors says, if you like your spaces to feel warm and cozy, earthy tones like rust, green and sand will be your go-to colors. If you do not want to embrace a full reddish-brown palette, though, consider pairing warm almond tones with sage green and lots of creams for a timeless look. Harriet Drohan, freelance stylist, thinks that the ever-popular natural palette will begin to include richer and more vibrant tones. She says, as we have seen a conversion to a more natural space, we will see pops of earthy tones like rich reds, dusty pinks and chlorophyll greens, be it in paint or through furniture, art and accessories. Nine. Japandi. Ceramics and homeware brand Denby's design director, Richard Eden, says this trend that emerged fully in 2021 is still going to play a key role in interior design. He says, this trend combines the minimalism and functionality of both Scandinavian and Japanese aesthetics to create the perfect harmony of nature, function, and simplicity. Expect to see a warm yet minimalistic color scheme, with organic hues such as cream, stone gray, and forest green taking the lead. Designed to last, Japandi-style interiors will also have a key focus on sustainability and timelessness. We'll see a more careful consideration of materials, with natural substances such as wood, clay, and wool coming to the forefront, as well as furniture and accessories designed with clean lines and shapes that can be restyled for years to come. (10) Maximalism. In contrast to the calming, neutral hues of Japandi, this trend is all about more and even more, depending on how brave you are feeling. Interior experts at luxury bed company, Crafted Beds, have identified an increase of over 5,000% in Google searches for maximalist interior design over the past 12 months, with the trend continuing to rise in popularity thanks to Instagram and TikTok. This eclectic style can be curated to fit your personal taste, from pattern and color to a mix and match of furniture and accessories that mean something special to you. Richard Eaton from Denby says, "To get the mainstream maximalism trend at home, disregard a consistent style and instead choose pieces that you love and that bring you joy, to create a home that reflects who you are as a person, as well as how you use the space." Joe Littlefair, from Goddard Littlefair adds, "In complete contrast to the relatively sensible and earnest trends coming through, we acknowledge the human kickback from the shackles of the last 2 years. Flamboyance, individuality and humor translate into a myriad of maximal decorating schemes, where we increasingly seek out the unique and personal aesthetics that speak to our sensibilities." (11) ROYALCORE. There's a pinch of posh on the way to your home if you embrace this trend, and you don't even have to prove your royal credentials to create and finesse an interior fit for a king or queen. James Waylett, from Jacobs and Dalton, says, "Driven by popular TV shows such as The Crown and Bridgerton, the regal aesthetic has taken the leap from fashion items such as corset-style tops and lavish flowing dresses, to home interiors." The trend first took hold on TikTok, where the hashtag ROYALCORE has more than 196.6 meters views, but is now quickly becoming mainstream, particularly as we head towards 2022's Platinum Jubilee, an excuse for us to celebrate in style. Esther Millardi, at D Oro Interiors, suggests subtly adding a touch of royal to your home whilst bringing in one of the color trends of the year too. She says, "Blue is a beautiful classic regal color that gives bags of character to any interior. Try using it sparingly, maybe as a large headboard or as a pair of stunning scatter cushions edged with white piping, or even as upholstered panels above your bedside tables. Complete the look with a glass and brass table lamp with a cream shade for the ultimate regal look." (12) Multi-functional spaces. There are many trends to find and influence you that could be on to the list, such as the increase in the use of curves within furniture design and the handy cluttercore, which, for most of us, is a brilliant excuse to not having to keep all of our interiors neat and tidy. How long sub-trends like these will last and what impact they may or may not have on the interiors world is yet to be seen. But one bedrock of change that has been very influential in the last 2 years is the way we use our homes as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. From finding space for a home office, a gym and a quiet space away from the noise of a busy home, the multiple functions of our home have morphed. Freelance stylist Harriet Drohan says there's a move towards more decluttering. having spent so much time in our living spaces, embracing a more pared-back home, a harmonious space, especially if the work-from-home space is more permanent, but the space will also have a focus on using the space to entertain again. The need for more space has spurred some people on to find a new home and create a boom within the property market, but many have looked to reworking their current spaces and interiors to adapt to this change in lifestyle. There's work, such as clever storage and ingenious ways to add a home office space to a property, as well as the stress of a Zoom-ready backdrop area in your home. There's rest, such as an area where there is a more peaceful place to get away from a busy house, such as a reading nook, space for yoga, or for more energetic people, a gym area. And finally, there's play. The rise of the home bar is undeniable, from pallet structures in the garden to full-on mini-pubs inside or outside. The need for an interior to provide a place to relax, entertain and socialize away from the stress beyond the front door, some might say, has never been more needed, and maybe you'll buy influenced to decorate it incorporating one of 2022's interior design trends.